A college student gets pregnant unexpectedly, only to be ruthlessly abandoned by her ex-boyfriend. To avoid bringing shame to the family, her father marries her off to an honest man from the countryside. Upon their first meeting, the man is struck by the girl's stunning beauty. He is so nervous that he dares not look her in the eye, can barely breathe properly, and his hands tremble uncontrollably even when pouring water. But the girl cuts straight to the chase without hesitation.
Now that you've had a chance to meet me, to see me in person, do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Do you think you'll be able to love the baby?
I do.
So, they met at 7 and hurriedly walked down the aisle at 8. Everything seemed utterly absurd, yet legitimate. Ray appears uneasy because he has not prepared a wedding ring. But Livy couldn't care less, as marrying Ray is just a temporary measure to deal with her father. Her heart is still tied to the perfidious ex-boyfriend. However, a twist of fate she never dreamed of awaits. In the next few short months, this honest countryman will completely change her life in a unique way. When Livy first arrived at Ray's farm, her high heels looked completely out of place on the rough country ground. She looks around, seeing only empty fields and scattered houses as far as the eye can see. The isolated environment and a strange husband make her feel a trace of tension and anxiety. Ray keenly captures the waves in her heart, trying his best to take care of Livy's emotions and using his gentleness and thoughtfulness to dissolve her unease.
Welcome home.
Entering the room for the first time, Livy is shocked by the scene before her. Although the space is not spacious, under Ray's meticulous care, it appears exceptionally organized. To ensure Livy enjoys a comfortable city-style life even in the countryside, Ray prepared the most comfortable large room for her and installed hot water equipment in advance. But Livy remains indifferent to all this.
Where's the telephone?
Well, there's a phone box in Wilson outside the post office.
They soon arrive in town. Livy rushes to the phone booth, while Ray heads straight for the library. This is his first time stepping into the world of knowledge. He searches the entire bookshelf and finally succeeds in finding a book on archaeology and a book on maternity care. Looking at his pregnant wife through the window, his expression reveals endless beauty and anticipation. Meanwhile, Livy complains to her sister on the phone about her plight and difficulties. In her long and detailed narrative, she subconsciously mentions her ex-boyfriend. She longed desperately to hear from him, but her hope always vanished like a stone sinking into the sea. On the way back, Livy gazes quietly out of the car. Green grass and flowers reflect each other in groups, covering the earth like a colorful painting, refreshing the mind. Livy's lost mood calms slightly, and she proposes to Ray that she can help him share some farm work. Although Ray declines her kindness without thinking, this concern still brings a trace of warmth to his heart. However, when they sit around the dining table to enjoy food for the first time, the gap between them is unveiled like a lifted veil, displayed nakedly before their eyes. Livy, as a graduate student in the field of archaeology, has knowledge as vast and deep as the ocean. Ray's world is limited to that barren land. When chatting, there is always an uncrossable chasm, and his poor level of knowledge makes him unable to cope with this awkwardness. To escape this difficult atmosphere, Ray can only awkwardly go to wash the dishes. Livy takes the opportunity to raise a doubt she has held for a long time, her trembling voice full of sadness and confusion.
Why you agreed to this?
Ray's eyes shine with determination. In his view, Livy is knowledgeable and beautiful, not a burden and trouble in the eyes of the secular world, but a precious gift given to him by God. A warm current surges in Livy's heart. She can't help but start rethinking. This man is not as rough as imagined, but a big boy with a gentle and delicate heart. The next morning, Ray goes out early to prepare fresh fruits and vegetables for his wife, while Livy seems to have nothing to do. To add some fun to his wife's country life, Ray has a sudden idea and decides to teach her to drive a car. Being a graduate student, Livy is naturally intelligent. Under Ray's careful teaching, she quickly masters the driving essentials, which makes Ray look at her with new eyes, and Livy also reveals a long-lost smile. Now, it seems that country life is not as rigid and boring as imagined. Instead, it has an unusual charm. Livy happily drove along the country road. Her eyes accidentally glance out the window, and a group of hard-working workers comes into view. She asks Ray curiously,
They work your farm?
Our farm.
However, Livy does not show joy at this kindness. Instead, she uses silence to separate herself from Ray. But Ray is not disappointed or discouraged by this coldness. Instead, he becomes more gentle and considerate. He understands that Livy needs time to adapt to her new identity and environment. So he takes Livy boating on the lake to enjoy the beauty and tranquility of nature. Livy leans on the bow of the boat, her figure graceful and charming, every curve radiating elegance and style. Ray's eyes secretly glance at Livy from time to time, and the seeds of love are quietly sprouting in his heart. Livy feels the gentleness of the lake water and the light touch of the breeze, as if all troubles are drifting away with the lake water. Ray silently guards her side, giving her the greatest support and comfort with his deep affection and care. In the blink of an eye, Livy and Ray have been married for 2 weeks. Ray not only gives Livy the greatest help in life, but also cares about Livy's health at all times. He personally accompanies Livy for prenatal checkups every week, but Livy is always heavy-hearted after every checkup. She asks Ray worriedly, "Everyone knows the child will be born in 5 months. Aren't you afraid of neighbors gossiping about you?" But Ray expresses that he doesn't care about other people's opinions at all. Instead, he feels that seeing the child sooner is a happy thing.
Well, they want the best for us.
Ray's words flow slowly in Livy's heart like a clear spring, taking away her inner fatigue and uneasiness. To thank Ray for his careful care, Livy decides to cook personally and make a sumptuous lunch for Ray. Ray turns to look at his beautiful and virtuous wife, a nameless impulse surging in his heart. He walks towards her irresistibly, his gaze attracted by her honey-colored hair and snow-white slender skin. At this moment, a deep hug is just right. But the moment he raises his hand, Ray reads a sense of tension and alertness from Livy's back.
Smells good.
After calming herself a little, Livy brought the egg rolls she had made to Ray to try. Ray couldn't wait and began eating them in big bites. Livy's eyes are full of expectation, but Ray's expression seems to slowly change from happiness to pain. Taking advantage of Livy going to get cheese, Ray immediately picks up the water cup and drinks heavily. Fortunately, the roar of a machine comes from outside, breaking this awkward atmosphere. Ray is so spicy that he can't bear it, so he leaves in a hurry, leaving only Livy looking out the door with a guilty face. But to find out what happened, she follows him out in a hurry.
Thanks. You said you like to swim. I'll dig you a hole so summertimes you and the children can go swimming.
It turns out that during the last boat trip on the lake, Livy accidentally mentioned her love for swimming. It seemed like just a whisper passing with the wind, but the speaker had no intent while the listener took it to heart. Ray quickly borrowed a large excavator to build an exclusive swimming pool for her. He knows that his limited knowledge cannot weave gorgeous love words, but he understands how to use practical actions to silently interpret his meticulous care and protection for Livy. However, Ray's deep affection for Livy goes far beyond this. He not only touches Livy in his own unique way, but also spares no effort to understand her world from Livy's perspective. To cater to Livy's archaeological interest, he specially borrowed archaeological books and studied hard in his spare time, striving to resonate with Livy on a spiritual level. To welcome Livy's arrival, Ray's brother-in-law Hank invites them to dinner. The dining table is full of laughter, permeating a warm welcome atmosphere. Hank chats cordially with Ray as always, and the topic inadvertently turns to this year's crop planting choices. However, Ray unexpectedly throws out an archaeological question about the ancient city of Troy. He deliberately talks about this topic in a half-concealed way, leaving Hank looking confused. At this time, Livy, relying on her rich professional knowledge, quickly takes over the topic and brings a unique sharing of archaeological knowledge to the family. But this also happens to fall into the trap carefully designed by Ray. The intelligent Livy instantly realizes that this is a change Ray made specifically to cater to her preferences. Therefore, a deep gratitude surges in her heart, and she decides to repay Ray's deep friendship in the same way.
So, Ray, are you gonna plant some beans this year?
If you think we ought to.
Ray's love is so pure and sincere, like an uncut gem, shining with unique light. He may not be good at using gorgeous words to weave love talk, but his practical actions always bring warmth to Livy just right. Livy can't help but re-examine this simple and unadorned man in front of her. Compared to her ex-boyfriend, Ray is more trustworthy and worthy of entrusting her life to. After dinner, Ray gently bids Livy goodnight as usual, but Livy stands at the top of the stairs waiting quietly. Under the foil of an extremely ambiguous atmosphere, Ray realizes that a deep kiss is just right at this time. But when he slowly approaches Livy, Livy subconsciously avoids it. Her heart is full of struggle. Perhaps she is not ready to accept this new relationship. Or perhaps there is still an unspeakable secret hidden in the bottom of her heart. The next morning, Livy sat outside, enjoying the pleasant morning. In the distance, a speeding car attracts her attention. It turns out that her sister Abby came specially to visit her. Abby looks around, seeing only the yellow dust flying all over the sky and the dilapidated houses. Looking at the cheap and wrinkled clothes on her sister again, an inexplicable sorrow surges in her heart. Although Livy repeatedly explains that life here is actually very happy, Abby still cannot let go. She is certain that behind this so-called happiness must be hidden countless sufferings and hardships, a lie woven by her sister to comfort herself. She cannot bear to watch her sister continue to suffer in such an environment. In order to help her sister get rid of this destitute life at all costs, she urgently reveals a clever plan to Livy. She solemnly tells Livy, "If you are willing, I can easily fabricate a rumor that Ray is an alcoholic and abusive, and you can go home rightfully, then give birth to the child logically and start a brand new life." But Livy refuses this plan without thinking.
Ray, no. Ray's the most gentle man I've ever met.
This has nothing to do with him. It's about doing what's best for you.
Unknown to when it started, Livy's heartstrings have been quietly plucked by Ray. His gentleness is like the first ray of sunshine in the morning dawn, soft and delicate. His soul is like a crystal-clear crystal, shining with pure and flawless light. Livy knows the value of this love deeply. She will never hurt such an innocent and sincere soul to satisfy her own selfish desires. In the end, she decides to say goodbye to her sister and chooses to stay here to spend the rest of her life with Ray. On this day, Ray takes Livy to attend her sister Martha's birthday dance. Friends and family at the scene are singing and dancing, with laughter rising one after another. Although a faint smile rested on Livy's face, her eyes revealed a subtle trace of unease. And in this strange occasion, Ray naturally becomes Livy's strongest shield. He not only builds a safe little world for Livy with his firm companionship, but also chooses to sit side by side with her on the edge of the dance floor with a tacit understanding, quietly watching all this beauty. Although Livy repeatedly persuades him to enjoy the fun of dancing, Ray still uses the excuse that he can't dance to insist on guarding Livy's side. However, his skillful tapping to the beat betrays him.
All right.
Sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Although their steps were slightly unfamiliar and clumsy at the beginning, as the melody of the music flowed melodiously, an invisible force was quietly injected into the depths of their hearts. They quickly found each other's rhythm, and their dancing posture instantly became elegant and smooth, like the brightest stars on the dance floor, not only illuminating each other's world but also attracting everyone's gaze and admiration. In the warm atmosphere of the dance, Martha's family permeates an incomparably happy and fulfilling aura. This warmth and harmony, like bright stars, deeply illuminate Livy's soul, making her march towards her own happy future with full hope and motivation. From then on, her world is more colorful because of Ray. She begins to actively understand Ray's family history. Those stories passed down from generation to generation are like ancient treasures, making her feel a resonance of connected bloodlines. She gently integrates into Ray's world in her own way, becoming an indispensable member of his family. As an explorer full of passion for archaeology, she is also happy to share every discovery of hers with Ray. Those relics sealed by time shine with the light of wisdom and beauty in her eyes. Together in the simple house, they use these precious memories and stories to decorate their warm little nest. Whenever night falls and the lights are dim, the cabin becomes the best witness to their love. This night, Livy meticulously prepared a romantic candlelight dinner, waiting for the return of her beloved with full tenderness, longing to spend a quiet time for two with Ray. However, when Ray steps into the house, all beautiful fantasies turn into bubbles. His face is gloomy and terrible, his eyes holding unprecedented anger. Without saying a word, he begins to sternly reprimand that the dog is absolutely not allowed to enter the room. This sudden anger is like a violent storm, instantly sweeping away the warm and romantic atmosphere in the room, leaving only silence and confusion. It wasn't until Ray took out the reply letter from Livy's ex-boyfriend that she suddenly realized, as if waking from a dream. It turned out that when Livy first came here, she often used various excuses to secretly send letters to her ex-boyfriend to express her longing and reluctance. However, Ray's gentleness and care, like warm sunshine, gradually warmed her heart, making her almost forget that unbearable past. But at this moment, facing Ray's angry and helpless eyes, Livy suddenly realized that she had committed an unforgivable mistake. because Ray not only did not stay to enjoy the candlelight dinner that should have belonged to him, but chose to turn around and throw himself into heavy farm work again, not even leaving her any chance to explain. The next morning, in order to sincerely express her apology to Ray, Livy specially got up before Ray and carefully made a sumptuous breakfast for him. Although her attitude was gentle and full of sincerity, Ray turned a blind eye to her kindness. Maybe he needs some time to calm his heartache, but Livy still hopes to fight for a chance to explain.
My first day here, I looked in your dresser. I can't even explain why I did it. I'm sorry.
You could have looked in there anytime you wanted. I got nothing to hide from you. It's my father's. Sometimes I wind it up when I want to remember him. I remembered how good he was to my mama. The kind of husband I want to be.
I made a mistake.
Which mistake would that be, huh? Being with him or marrying me?
Would it be easier if I left?
Ray makes no verbal response to this question, only walking towards Livy with firm steps. His eyes are deep and gentle, as if carrying all the tenderness and expectation in the world. Then he gently cups Livy's cheeks and kisses her deeply. This kiss is full of endless love and desire, but also mixed with a trace of imperceptible exploration. However, Livy does not choose to avoid it this time, but it cannot be counted as catering to it either. Her reaction lacks the heat Ray expected, causing an indescribable loss to surge in Ray's heart.
Is there anything you like about me, Livy?
Livy's heart is full of struggle and contradiction. She knows deeply that she has hurt the depths of Ray's heart once again. In the dead of night, Livy lies in bed crying bitterly, her heart full of self-blame and uneasiness. And Ray still sends her meticulous care and comfort when she needs it most. However, this deep affection and kindness look like unreachable starlight in her eyes, illuminating her world, but also making her see her own deficiencies and darkness more clearly. She chokes and apologizes to Ray, saying Ray is the best man she has ever met, but her dirty soul is not worthy of Ray's purity. Thus, she decides to leave here after Thanksgiving. Facing Livy's proposal to leave, Ray does not immediately speak to keep her. A trace of complex emotion flashes in his eyes, immediately replaced by an indescribable relief. He knows deeply that true love is not just possession, but understanding and respecting the other party's choice. So, he chooses to silently accept this decision in a mature and deep way. However, when the parting truly arrives, those once beautiful fragments flash through Ray's mind like a movie. Her smile, her gentleness, her resilience, all turn into the most precious memories in his heart. He discovers that he is actually more reluctant to part than he imagined. This emotion comes surging like a tide. He takes a deep breath, trying hard to calm his emotions, trying to use clumsy but affectionate words to keep Livy.
I've fallen in love with you, and I love that baby. Livy, you're a fine and talented woman. You're a pitiful cook, but it doesn't matter, I can do the cooking.
Then Ray takes out the ring from his pocket that he didn't have time to prepare on the wedding day and confesses affectionately to Livy again. Every word is as heavy as 1,000 pounds, fully loaded with unchanging promises and longing for the future. However, facing this deep friendship, Livy delays giving the response Ray expects. Her eyes are intertwined with complex emotions, and guilt presses heavily on the bottom of her heart like a boulder.
How do you know this could work?
I know, because someday you're gonna forgive yourself.
The infinite gentleness and profound understanding shown by Ray, like warm sunshine penetrating thick clouds and hitting Livy's heart, not only dispels the haze in her heart, but also lights up a lamp of hope for her in the vortex of guilt and self-blame, making her feel unprecedented peace and relief. Finally, she puts on that ring symbolizing love. With the nourishment of love, Livy's eyes shine with the light of promise and hope. She finally summons unprecedented courage to bid a decisive and thorough farewell to that heartless person who repeatedly failed her deep affection. Surrounded by white snow and whistling wind, her heart is filled with unprecedented firmness and determination. She takes off the pendant belonging to that heartless person, her eyes flashing with determined light, and throws it into the hot brazier without hesitation. The firelight sways in the biting cold wind, completely turning the bitterness and unbearableness of the past into ashes. Livy stares at the dancing firelight, feeling an unprecedented ease and freedom. Soon a new life is born, like the morning dawn, gently sprinkling every corner of Ray's heart. Livy gently sends this little life into Ray's arms. Ray's eyes shine with unprecedented light. That is the brilliance of fatherly love, warm and firm. He carefully takes this little life, as if taking over the whole world. Livy stares at this scene, her eyes holding both the joy of becoming a mother and deep gratitude to Ray. She knows deeply that true love is never restricted to gorgeous rhetoric and piled-up sweet words. It is like a long stream of water, silently nourishing two souls longing to be understood and cherished. It is reflected in every ordinary day. The cup of warm water handed over in the first ray of sunshine in the morning, the lamp always lit for you on the way home, the umbrella tilted towards you on a rainy day, and countless moments of silently paying attention to your emotional changes and giving warm hugs in time. Love is the language of action. It is deeper and more real than any gorgeous rhetoric. It teaches us that true care is not just talk, but a willingness to put down the self, to listen, understand, and tolerate every small emotion and need of the other party. It is reaching out first when the other party needs it, and becoming their most solid reliance when they are tired.